If you eat food at the exact same rate as defecating in a toilet, the volume of food in your stomach will stay the same for a period of time. This confuses your brain, causing it to explode your body, killing you instantly. So if you don't have a serious addiction to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks, then Zack D Films is a short-form content creator who primarily focuses on short-form content. Now, the stuff he features in his videos aren't really useful. It's like information you look at and you go, huh, like very obscure, useless crap. But anyway, it seems that Zacky D has run out of content because the content he's been doing recently has been very weird, which is crazy because like there's literally a random button on Wikipedia, and if you click that random button on Wikipedia, you got an instant video right there. Like, just do that. But no, it looks like he's starting to make crap up. So an example of like an actual educational video that he made was like when Beethoven became deaf. He basically like attached a metal rod onto his piano, bite down to the metal rod, and then the vibrations coming from his piano goes through the rod into his jaw, and then it vibrates his ear without the need of like sound waves going into his eardrum making the sound, which I think is really interesting. I always thought he just knew so much about music theory that he didn't need to hear the music. He could just instantly know like, yeah, this is gonna be a banger. But like, that's an actual educational video. Recently, Zack has been making like very weird content, like these like true stories. Now I'm guessing Zack finds these stories in articles he found somewhere, but he never cites the articles anywhere. If you like see the video, he just has like a very broad title, no description, not even like a comment saying like this is where he got the story from. I mean, sometimes he does state that these stories were like written down on a note somebody found. It doesn't really tell me if like the stories he got was either from an article or he just pulled it completely from his ass. I'm leaning more to the latter because like the stories he tells are kind of just like actually insane and crazy.
They say he had a second face on the back of his head, but it was said to laugh when he cried and mutter words only he could hear. No doctor would remove it. He couldn't take it anymore and ended his own life, leaving behind a chilling note about his suffering.
Now, I have a theory. A game theory. My theory is the guy in the video has schizophrenia or schizophrenia, whatever, however you pronounce it. The mental illness where it sounds like somebody's whispering in your ear and they're like somewhere around surrounding you even though they don't exist. I think the guy who wrote the letter actually believed that like Voldemort was like on the back of his head saying stuff to him that nobody else can hear. No doctor could cure it because there wasn't a guy on the back of his head. Also, I have to say how high quality these animations are. It's obvious Zack outsources his videos to like multiple animators because some of them are like very high quality and has great animation, while others not.
He leapt into the air, let out a whistle, and finished with a perfectly timed fart.
That's impressive. Also, that fart particle effect, that wasn't a fart. That was like a nuclear bomb.
And the king loved it, and in return, he was given land, a house, and money.
Damn, that fart joke must have been really hilarious if the jester has a higher net worth than me.
But when he performed his act for the new king, he didn't think farting was funny, and he lost his status and land.
Or not. I guess he lost everything. Like a fart in the wind.
The fish nibbled on her toes to clean them.
Ew.
Took doctors a year to diagnose the infection. They had to cut it off.
Serves her right.
And eventually lost all 5 toes.
Okay, I think that's a little too far. Now, there's like a trope reoccurring in each video, and that trope is that Zack has a monopoly on everything. Like, he produces every single thing ever. His branding is stuck on so many objects, and he also, like, has branding on people, which implies that he has, like, guinea pigs to experiment his products on. He also has brandings on, like, credit cards, which implies that he owns a bank. And he also sold flammable pest control stuff that literally set people's pants on fire, and they weren't even liars.
A massive fire consumed the barn, threatening to kill the 18 piglets inside. But firefighters put out the blaze and rescued the suffering animals. But these pigs had been raised for meat and were soon slaughtered. They were turned into sausages and gifted to the firefighters, and they ended up grilling the exact same pigs they had saved just months before.
What? I'll probably never ever become vegan or vegetarian, but I wouldn't eat the pigs that I saved from a fire. That's like if I saved a baby from a fire and they served me baby stew. I mean, I wouldn't eat the baby stew. I would eat babies, but I wouldn't eat the baby stew. Like, if I knew the pigs were gonna be turned into pork, I would just wait until the barn extinguishes. Then I would have crispy bacon.
If a 10-year-old attacked you, you'd easily be able to fight them off. But if you add more kids, like 10 at once, things start to get tricky. But if you're really strong, you might be able to fight them off if you used all your strength. Now, if 25 kids worked together, they'd have the weight and energy of a small football team, and their combined efforts would easily bring down any adult.
Who needs to know this information? Hold on, somebody at my door. Let me check my Ring doorbell.
Hello. That's a boom and make it boom. That's a boom and make it boom.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can take them.
The dog waited loyally for his owner to step off the train, and he did this every day for years. But one day, the man didn't return. You see, he had passed away at work, but there was no way for his dog to know. And for almost 10 years, he stayed at the station, waiting for his best friend to come home. Other passengers would feed him, and his story spread across Japan. But finally, he took his last breath, still waiting at the same spot. Later, a bronze statue was constructed in his honor, but it was melted down for ammunition in World War II.
This is the second worst thing Japan ever did. Oh yeah, this story reminds me of Red Dog. Another dog whose owners died, but instead of Red Dog being a pussy and just staying there until his owner came back, he hitchhiked around Australia and possibly went to Japan. Yes, Red Dog might have been in Japan to find his owner. Red Dog also got a statue, but let me tell you, if they melt down Red Dog's statue, like the entirety of Australia would just go into anarchy. You do not melt down the Red Dog statue.
Slide the card into the gap between the door and the frame right where the latch is. Then angle it slightly and push it against the slanted side. As you apply pressure, the latch starts to slide into the door, loosening its grip on the door frame. Now wiggle the card while pushing the door. This will fully loosen it. And once it slips back, the door will swing open.
Thanks, Jack. This information will be very useful to me.
If a cannonball was shot at you while you were wearing a bulletproof vest,
I'll die. Oh wait, no. I'll die.
it would tear right through your body instantly.
So I'll die.
At 100 vests,
I'll live?
some energy would be absorbed, but the force of impact would still break your bones and crush your organs.
Oh no, I'll die.
Now, if you were to stack 5,000 vests, creating a wall dozens of feet thick,
Then I'll live.
you would finally stop the cannonball. But the force would still travel through the vests, and since they're attached to you, you'd still be thrown to the ground.
So I'll still die. Why even make this video? You're basically saying I'll die no matter what.
If you stuck 2 AA batteries in your brain,
Why would I do that?
you might think they'd be enough to power it all day.
Why would I think that?
If you rub yourself with poison ivy,
Why would I do that?
so what would happen if you ate a poison ivy salad?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I'm guessing you'll probably die.
Well, the leaves would blister your mouth and throat as you swallow, and as your tissues swell, it could block your airways, making it hard to breathe. When it reaches your stomach, you'll have severe pain and vomiting, and it could even give you terrible diarrhea.
So I'll die and shit myself. Okay.
If you strapped a baby to a pair of Cybertruck,
Zach, in what universe would I even do that? In what universe would I strap a baby to 2 Cybertrucks?
you would need 5,000 of them just to make them move.
Actually, this is very useful information if I break down with my 2 Cybertrucks and 5,000 babies.
Now, if you did the same thing with anacondas, it would take at least 160 of the giant snakes to pull the truck. But if you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to tow the trucks, you would need just 1.5 of him to get them rolling.
Whoa. The snakes and babies, I can understand. But when am I gonna have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on standby with me? 1.5 Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons with me.
If a giant person sneezed on you, the winds would be as strong as a Category 5 hurricane, and the force would be so...
Wait, is he enjoying it? What an absolute freak. I'll hate to see his surgery.
He took the master key and pressed it into melted candle wax, making a perfect impression. His allies used it to make a metal copy. They hid it inside a cake and sent it back to him, and waited for the cake. And this time, the key worked. He passed through every locked gate, simply walking out of the prison. And years later, he became president of Ireland.
Wait, what?
If you fart in the middle of a surgery, it can cause a fire.
Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Hey, it's me from the future where I forgot to record an outro. So as you can see, Zach's content is a little odd, but I mean, it has to be odd if he makes like 5 videos a day. Each time I go on his channel, he always, each day, like I check the daily for stuff, and there's like 10 new videos, like he's pumping them out like crazy. So yeah, he ran out of ideas, and yeah, he's making weird crap like this. Again, he has some very educational stuff, but like some of his, like, your fart can explode, or like, how many babies will it take to tow my Cybertruck? I don't know why is there a white flash right there? But anyway, thanks for watching, guys.